Hello and good evening. This evening is the Town Council meeting. th July.
Is it me you're looking for?
Anyone else coming for us? I've got the lead between your legs. Yeah, I've got the lead between your legs. I'm determined, I'm sitting. You want to sit there? Yeah, I want to sit on you. Yes. The lead between one and
No, it's okay. Go for it. This is your. I've forgotten my daughter's name. She's the same age as my oldest, Hannah. Floss. Oh, it's a bad name. No, that's right. No, that's right. Yeah, true. Jack off. Oh, I know. They've just said to us, and it's really hot. So that's why they've not wished it.
Well, I phoned them up and they said that is, that's one they use, and so,
Unless you call somewhere to get the right.
Let's face it.
Yeah, we organise it every summer, so.
We need the wrong place.
Look, right, the HGV wants it, I've downloaded it out Tuesday. I downloaded the organisations out. You've actually got 60 years off. Right, so I've downloaded it out, wait on it. And then we say
because I've only got 15 seats of your meeting.
So if you can move up that, it'd be good.
She can't see the leads in the way, so let's get rid of a chair.
Is it as easy as unless it doesn't like it, you do it by copy and paste.
No, you can't copy and paste it.
That will be wise. Now I've got to find it.
It's a bit dull. This is me.
Yes, indeed. She's sending in the sweets.
It's more hard at home than you realise. But it's actually absolutely
It wasn't actually, they moved the shed from the lead.
If we do it tonight, that wants to be the foot, foot up here, being a bit. Yeah. Yeah, it's self-anxiety. It's quickly growing. You went for both.
Let's send it to Cheyenne. So find out the
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, I understand that, yeah. Your neighbours that think they might.
The doctor's got into me goods.
We had. That's the first time.
Yeah, we go right.
Dressed for the wrong part.
Me, I was a county officer, and it was very cold and stuff.
I mean, the political party.
No, but when I was I've got views of very not well, that was what Gary was speaking to me. If you have a job, we can share it.
Hi, Rebecca. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Right. Welcome to this evening's meeting. Welcome to our guests. The first item on the agenda is apologies for absence. I think we may have a full house tonight. No apologies. Second item is any declarations of interest or requests for dispensation. Lucy?
Thank you. So with regard to item 9, obviously that's a county council matter. Item 16, again is county council. Item 17, I'm the portfolio holder for estates at district council, so that's pertinent. Item 18, there was conversation previously about using my county highways budget, so I won't be able to discuss that. And I can't agree to spend my budget on your behalf. And then item 23, I do live on Station Road, so I don't believe it's appropriate that I take part in any debate on that. And double that is the district council owns the land adjacent to the one that's proposed there. So I don't know whether or not there'd be a conflict with my district council role, but I'd rather say than not.
Following on from that, Mr. Chair, item 23. As Chair of the Garden Committee, I can't comment on the application itself, but we can comment on the audit principle and do so part of district council report. Okay.
Thank you.
Item 17 is there. Chairman Wilson, who did have an interest in the overall situation with those licences, so I able to take an interest in that. It doesn't relate to the budget.
Yeah, 23, Station Road resident.
Hang on, more bin.
I declare one for 8.1.
Okay, 1.9. Yeah. Laura?
Number 20. And Mr. Mayor, on direct point 1, with your dual part as treasurer, I don't know whether or not you've seen it, as treasurer for North Ocean Freedoms Group. There's an item on there, so I wasn't sure whether or not you've seen it.
On which item? Apart from that, we can all discuss it. Clerk's report is, sorry, minutes, yes, minutes and minutes for, we've got two meetings, the 21st of May one had to be amended slightly, and we also got one from the 25th of June.
So under the 21st, I just added somebody, I think it's Julie wanting me to add a final offer to accept consultants insurance company for 14 bus shelter replacement of half an hour to see if this can be increased. That's where I put that under the clerk's report, that's where it was discussed. Okay. So can they be signed?
I think we were agreeable apart from that one.
Propose in the second.
I propose that we accept them. Barry, seconded.
Barry.
Yeah. And then the ones for our last meeting on the 25th of June. Who Lucy?
I wasn't present, there's just a confusing point under item 12. So I wasn't sure whether or not it doesn't feel that it would possibly reflect.
We've got, was that the last one?
So the last one. I don't know whether or not it's a wording issue, but it doesn't feel that it reflects something accurately. So the question I've got, and it might just be that the wording just is a little bit off, is that the proposal that's put there initially appears to be proposed and seconded and voted on with nobody voting against it, which would mean that vote was carried, which then is confusing as to why there was a second vote, because that vote appears that it was voted on with nobody opposing it, which means that vote was carried and they're both conflicting. So if nobody voted against them, then the first one would have been carried, so the second vote wouldn't have been taken. So I don't know whether or not it's because there's something omitted from there. It doesn't make any sense. And I wasn't at the meeting.
No, I was there, not for all of it, I can't remember what for that particular part. But the fact is, as was pointed out, if the majority abstained, still two voted, it was probably opposed and second, that's a substantive, it's passed.
It wasn't, you didn't have a majority vote, which is why it wasn't passed.
No,
There were
it doesn't.
five for and 5 against.
Well, no, I'm sorry, first one, people abstain. If you recall, and I'm not sure if you recall them abstaining in your notes, Wendy.
They just didn't vote, so
They
nobody
didn't vote,
voted, so
That
only
is a
two people
technical
voted.
abstention.
It just doesn't make any, so from the way that it reads, the first proposal should have been carried because there were no votes
It
against.
can't be carried.
It can be carried,
No, it can't,
majority of
because
people
there's
that,
already, you can't form a new committee when the other committees are still in place. You haven't dissolved them yet, which is why it's on the agenda for today's meeting.
I completely understand that, but the vote that was there was carried, the first point was carried because the majority of people that voted,
There was 11 people here, five voted for, 5 voted against.
there was
Therefore,
only 2 voted for on the
Well,
first
there
one.
was 11 people here, and
But,
it wasn't carried.
but if the 9 abstain, then it does count.
But it was, you didn't have a majority.
But it's the majority of the people that vote, that's how it works.
You had 5 for and 5 against, which is why the whole thing, and apart from that, because you already have committees in place, you can't create a new committee when the other 2 are still in place. So, which is why you've got on today's agenda the motion to try and dissolve the Markets Committee and the M&I Committee, and then further on in the agenda to form the new committee. And until that is done, you can't disband the old one. You're trying to create a new committee when you've got committees already in place.
I'm not trying to create anything, I wasn't at the meeting.
But that's why it's on today's agenda again. Otherwise, you would have to actually impose standing orders 7A and 7B. Otherwise, you can't mention it again for another 6 months.
No, I appreciate that, this is about technical accuracy of the democratic process, so
Well, if you're technically accurate, you can't form a new committee when you've already got 2 in place.
sorry, please can I just finish? It's about the recording of what actually happened. So for technical accuracy, because these are legally binding,
Yeah, I realise that.
then what we're technically recording is that we voted and agreed something, then we voted for something else and agreed something, and that because that wasn't quite what was wanted, then it was deferred. You can't vote and agree something, then defer everything. That isn't how it works. So I'm just curious as to what part of that I don't understand, or was it just an error at the time? Because if this goes out in the papers,
During the discussion, it actually reached agreement that you couldn't actually resolve that situation because of the standing of A, what it was about, and what hadn't been done before you got to that point.
Paul.
So, again, I wasn't there, but did you or did you not? Was a motion put forward to disband them, as the first sentence says? And if so, did 2 people vote in favour of it?
No, they did not vote to disband the Markets Committee and the M&I Committee. Therefore,
Yeah, so
that
that's-
was-
I would agree with that comment. We did not disband the committee.
We're obviously going to rely on memories here. Can we ask you to go back to your recording,
I record.
just to clarify that for next
I've
time.
been in
The
the
proposal, I think you find on your recording actually, was for the formation of a new combined committee which would replace the markets and the M&I, and it would become the media, information, markets and tourism. Or as I've annotated it as time: tourism, information, media, markets and events. So that actual sentence in the minutes of the last meeting, as far as I'm concerned, is incorrect anyway.
Here's on my phone if you want me to find it.
I don't, just with technical accuracy, it just doesn't seem correct, because this will be a.
Should we defer this for next time, and in the meantime we can review the recording and see what you said?
That would have been, I wasn't present, it just
No,
doesn't make sense.
But otherwise we won't go back on this.
I think you'll find you've got it on the agenda today to
Yeah,
do
yes.
exactly that.
We have, but for recording this, we should have it correctly.
Well, as I said, that is not
I know,
a true
I
reflection.
know, that's why we're going back to check it. So we'll move on from, we won't agree that now. We'll move on to the next item, Mayor's announcements. Right, well, I was approached by the Air Cadets about creating a Mayor's Cadet, which is the new one on leave, that is, does exist in other places. And that would be a 12-month appointment for a senior cadet or a performing cadet. I was very happy to agree with that. Flight Sergeant Sophie Ledbear will be the first one, and she'll join me on the formal events or with Barry as deputy. She'll also get involved in helping to promote the council and the cadets to the younger generation in town, which is a good thing. Cromer are also doing this, they're a little bit ahead of us, but I'm working with the mayor and clerk at Cromer to make sure we're getting the same sort of approach and provide the most opportunities we can for the cadets while they're with us. And I think Sophie will maybe speak about that in the public section shortly. So that's the only announcement I have, I think. Is there anything on the matters arising that anybody wanted to raise? You need to be spent on
I have set the action on. Let me just go through, because there are some things I want to discuss. That's fine. So most of the action log is agenda item, because I've slowly gone through it. The uplighters on the uplighters in the town plot are being installed tomorrow. And we're going to have them go off at 11 o'clock at night. So they're in action, they're being installed. The fountain's all been cleaned. I've got a cost to do a Legionnaires test, because I have to do a Legionnaires testing on it to make sure the water is, because it's been stagnant for so long. Yeah. That's going to possibly be about £250. So I'm going to go ahead with that. The defibs have all been registered on the circuit. There was unfortunately an incident where the police were not given the defib at the orchard. The gentleman didn't die, he did die, but he didn't die because of the defib wasn't found. But all the defibs need to be registered on the circuit now, and that's they've all been registered now. The fire doors on the fire doors are all going to have closures put on them. They've been done on 6th August. I've insisted that NMDC do that because we're upstairs. We haven't got an escape route except for the stairs, so So they're going to do that. The fire door to the kitchen is another matter because they're telling us that we can't prepare hot food in there, we can't have a microwave, we can't prepare hot food. So I'm still working on that because it's not fair. County Council are working on that as well because, you know, we like to produce
So
hot
should be able
food.
to do it, I'm sure.
Say something
On
on the fire door in the kitchen.
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, well, Steve, I mean, you've mentioned this before.
Well, through you, Chair, I investigated this both through Health and Safety Executive and current standing regulations. Any door opening into a corridor or a stairwell in a building must be a fire door. No ifs, no buts. So whoever is giving Wendy the runaround at NNDC needs to start putting his act together. Otherwise he'll find himself in breach of the Health and Safety at Work Act.
Yeah, because I had a fireman come in as well and he confirmed that to me, and I did speak to Milo and said it should happen. But he said, this is the report from our fire officer, and as long as there's no microwave in there or no toaster, then it doesn't have to have one.
Regardless of the fact, if there's a fire, the reason for having a fire door is if a fire breaks out, every fire door, today's standard, is a minimum of a 1 hour fire door, which means the people who are behind that door have got 1 hour before they can be rescued in the means of smoke overcoming and more flames getting to them. That is the reason for a fire door, not if you've got a toaster or a microwave or a kettle. That is completely out of the context of why a fire door should be there in the first place. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I am.
And thank you.
Yeah, so that will hopefully will happen, and then we can have some hot food in the winter.
It's just not my office, it's
No,
Frankie as
that's
well,
fine,
so
that's
it's
really
like
fine.
we keep pushing.
It's used
so.
for the whole building,
The dog poo bin down at, I don't know what the estate is called, Hornby Estate. It's been looked at and we thought me and Lucy thought it could go on Way, is it Rayborn Way? Where the room is with the playground, and it's on the playground, so just in there, so I'm going to purchase one of those. I've got a quote for the bus shelter for Park Lane, because that was agreed to be done, so the boys could knock that down. I think the quote is 4,000 to do that one with a purchase. That's something that had already been agreed to do. Camera footages with the skate park, they have questioned it, so I'm now going to get people who've done the camera footage to speak to Gravity to explain what their footage is and where it is not done, because they said there's a black pipe at the end that goes up. And that's not very good going up, is it? It needs to go down, surely. The Rossborough reports Daniel's looking into the Rocking Horse. I've got no update for that yet. The Clean and Cedar House will start on Thursday. Benches. There was some community shop benches in the NNDC compound, and they've gone missing. One has been found. The other two have been installed by NNDC. And they've been installed, one at Sattleswood and one at Howler Close, which is not where we want them installed. They can't take it back because they've concreted them in. So I have gone back and said, well, you need to replace them. We didn't ask you to put them in there, so I've blessed you down and got it from Milo today.
It's up Ocean Road,
Yeah.
right, just as you go
So
out
it's just
down
been
the right.
installed. Yeah, so.
I think there's a small play area there.
So yes, they thought that they've been in there so long, we haven't took them, but we couldn't get in there, but we didn't want them. Yeah, that's that for my report. Is there any questions? Some of the action log now is what a lot of it's agenda item. The only thing on the action log was about the park benches, the plaques and the heritage to be removed. And I've looked on the park bench policy, I think it's already been done. It's just never updated on the action log because there's nothing on the park bench application about heritage benches, and there's nothing about a plaque, so I'm going to take that off. It says about a plaque and how many words you can have on it and letters and things. So yeah, that's that.
Good, okay. Move on then. Yep. Reports from district councillors is the next one. Saul, you want to go first? As you're probably running out.
Well, yeah, I haven't got a Worcester Parish Council tonight, but I do have a Worcester Festival wash-up meeting. What are the chances of that? It was very good. Thank you, Paul. It was a fantastic weekend, so I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I don't know how many people came actually, but if you've never been to the Worcester Festival, do next year because it's super. So just for our guest, I'm Saul Penfold, I'm the County Councillor for North Aylsham West, and about another 13 parishes over towards Aylsham. So Lucy and I attended County Council last Tuesday, 22nd, I think. Full council meeting, first one back since the election. Amongst other things, we discussed the county deal for Norfolk. If you remember, this was part of the previous government's devolution settlement, about which I think we were all in agreement that devolution is a good thing, that more powers that can come to us in Norfolk and can be devolved down further is good. With the change of government, who are also very keen on devolution, there's going to likely be a sort of change of emphasis and an opportunity for us at county, I think, sort of cross-party to lobby for a better deal, because I think certainly is a better deal to be had for Norfolk. All of us agreed in the chamber that would be a good thing, so this kind of window is opened up whereby now we can talk to Angela Rayner and the department about a better deal for Norfolk, which I think is probably unlikely now to include the directly elected leader, because that was one of the previous proposals that Norfolk County Council next time round, so May 2025, you'd also be electing, as well as your county councillors, you would be electing a directly elected leader for the council who wouldn't have been a county councillor, would sort of sit separate to that, but nevertheless would lead the council. I think that model probably has gone, but we'll wait to see what happens there. But it's probably the autumn, I think, where we'll have to make a decision on what we do, but obviously we can only do that when the detail comes back from government. So more locally, the mayor and I stood in the marketplace a while back on a Sunday and watched a number of vehicles come through. Now that may have been because there were roadworks elsewhere, that the number was more than normal. But I've contacted Highways today. Our Highways officer has just come back from leave, and to have a meeting on site with Highways about traffic coming through the marketplace during the restriction hours, and what we might do to stop that as much as possible. Clearly, enforcement is one way to do that, and you know that can happen, but it's not going to happen that often. So we want to talk about perhaps more obvious signage, perhaps signage that is a bit lower down on those posts, and perhaps a little bit further back or forward along Market Street, as it were, so that you see that before you get to the actual left turning. And I think we're just ways that we can sort of add extra mitigations and warnings in there. So I'll let you know when that meeting, and Lucy as well, when that happens with Justin. There should, they haven't gone in yet, but I have ordered a couple of signs for Hornbeam Road just to try and direct traffic to the NNDC car park there, because there have been issues with cars parking sort of opposite Westover, and that's causing problems with traffic coming out of Kempner, I think it is. But I just anecdotally feel that car park is being used better now. But hopefully these signs directing those people to the free car park will be in pretty soon. We all know about the Grammar School Road roundabout that we've got the funding for. I think it's likely to happen now, sort of very early spring next year. That's the last I heard from the head of Highways. So sort of February, March time. So we'll get Christmas over and then God knows. No, we'll sort that out when it happens. But this is the thing that we've all wanted for such a long time, to create that extra filter lane coming down Grammar School Road, so that traffic can, 6 or 7 cars worth of traffic can queue there to turn right at the foot of Grammar School Road and go round the other to the Ocean Road, King's Arms and then Ocean Road, thus alleviating that massive backup of traffic that we have along Grammar School Road. And just not directly relevant to it, but it's somewhere that we will drive, I'm sure. You remember I was unsuccessful, I'm afraid, in getting money from the Road Safety Community Fund. I wanted to try and bring the double yellow lines along Millfield Road further back than the Norwich Road, again trying to stop that issue of dangerous pulling out on Millfield Road as cars coming off the Norwich Road. We all know that's a problem. Unfortunately, that highways turned that down, but they did agree to reduce the speed limit in Colby, and I know that's not in Horsham, but we will use the Ocean Road, I'm sure, to go between us, so that's going to happen in the next couple of months, down from 40 to 30. That's pretty much a roundup from me. Any questions? Happy to have those, Bob.
We do have a letter from a member of the public about yellow lines in Millfield Road.
Yes.
On the agenda item for that, but perhaps you could liaise with Wendy just to give her the information. So
yes. I could certainly give you the information, the application that we put in. So I spent a lot of time with the highways team on that application. And it went to then the county safety team, who unfortunately turned it down. But they gave a number of reasons for that. So I could send you those and then you'd be able to say. Yeah. I mean, it's not to say we can't revisit it. I was quite surprised they turned that down to us, because it's quite clear, we all know, and the highways teams saw that. So, yeah, it was a great shame. I can't remember the exact reasons they gave. There'll be technical reasons, a couple of years back now.
It's not a nuisance area, it's not an accident.
Yeah, it's usually an accident-related reason. The data doesn't show that there are accidents here, which is always a harsh reply, but that's probably what they would have said. But I can. Do you want me to send that to you?
Yeah.
Paul, you have a question?
Timeline for the works to the bypass Norwich Road?
Do you mean the North Horsham West?
No. There's the widening outside of nice cars to put a wider lane into
the extra lane.
filter. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all going to happen at the same time as the Grammar School Road.
Okay.
So it's all going to be done as one job. So this is come around Grammar School Road, turn left to go up to the bypass. So there'll be you come up now. There's obviously the 2 lanes. There'll be one dedicated just to go left, so to eat off a bit of that corner by the nice car company. The head of highway said that will all take place at the same time. It will be massively disruptive, but better to be massively disruptive in a shorter period than 2 lots of pretty disruptive, which will probably be worse. Actually.
1 period of chaos.
1 period of chaos better than 2 periods of
Can I
chaos.
speak? All right.
So that's probably early spring, I think.
Okay.
Early spring, yeah. But for how long that is, I don't know. Maybe 6 months.
Then we get to public session, so you can say something. Anything from Lucy?
So I'll give the other half of the county report.
Let's do
So whilst we've got the issues in Market Street, PCM Robinson has been very active when she's had time of being in the marketplace, stopping vehicles, because it is only the police that can stop moving traffic. So she spent quite some time stood in the high street, stopping vehicles, asking to see a blue badge, to the point where I think she stopped about 40 vehicles in about 20 minutes. Got very frustrated and went and stood at the bottom of the Market Street. That was at the time we had the very bizarre diversion down Elsham Road, where highways, for whatever piece of wisdom, had positioned everybody to come through the marketplace. It is an issue. I would like to say that it's because people can't read the signage, but having stood with Emma and witnessed it, it is a lot of local people who have chanced coming through. So it's a behavioural change that we do need. Emma did offer some very firm words, and I think if it does continue, she'll look to taking further action with people. We don't think we can do with signage, but if we have local people who continue to flout the rules, then it's an individual issue rather than a collective problem. We have had some issues with tourists coming down Church Street and then turning into the marketplace the wrong way. And I think perhaps there's a bit of a signage issue, that when people come to that junction, they don't automatically, they see a very beautiful town and think, oh, go and have a look. They don't look for the signage to say there's no entry down there. So that's something that I'll have to do and work on going forwards. I have out on the highways budget paid for better signage to the high school because they were struggling with people not being able to find them. And there was a little bit of work needed on Weavers Lane because we had quite a wet spring. And then also we got some sunshine and everything bloomed all at once, which is really lovely, but not when you're trying to navigate that with toddlers and sticky metals. So the county council did react quite quickly to that. I did just want to touch on the last full council meeting at County Hall. There have been 2 times now where I've been completely infuriated with people's disregard for vulnerable people in our community. No, this will be the 3rd time. The first was when we had to fight so hard for children to get support on free school meals. The second was when we were told people who were in poverty just needed to get better jobs. And this last time was when our vulnerable community members who need extra help because they've got disabilities, so social services give them extra help. And that comes with something called a minimum income guarantee, which is the least that the government and the council decide that somebody needs to live on. And in Norfolk, we pay, I think it's just a little bit, around £10 over a week, what the government has said. We're consistently told that living in Norfolk is expensive, transport's expensive, people who don't have, standard fuels to heat their homes is expensive, and extra care and support is expensive. But as part of the current budget cuts, there has been consultation on whether or not we should reduce that to the bare minimum that the government has set. Now, Sol will agree, because we both have a similar stance on that we don't think that it's acceptable to take from the people who need it the most. And then the other issue with that is that if you take from somebody, where else are they going to get support across the wider system, because these people will need extra support. So we did try and have a debate about it, but it was shut down by the leader of the council who refused to carry on the debate any further, and had Sol not been very, very strong and sat to my left, I would have left because I was completely I was disgusted and irate. So there will be members of our community where if that consultation leads to the minimum income guarantee being reduced, we will find that members of our community are going to struggle. So please do keep your eyes out for anybody that's going to affect. We will see them all in plain sight really. So it's just something to be really mindful of. Linking to that, we had the Health Overview and Scrutiny Committee today, where we talk about the big issues that we're facing in the county and on the agenda is malnutrition. And it's not just, it's across all ages. We predominantly see it in our older generation, where we have seen over the last couple of years people having to choose between heating their homes and eating, and people have chosen to stay warm. But it's not just people who are underweight with signs of malnutrition, it's where we're getting stunted growth in our children, and where we have got the micronutrients, iron, B12 and things like that, and people are needing to have that subsidised because their diet isn't adequate. Part of this is due to health inequality, where people are not able to choose a healthier option. So the food prices have gone up by about 25%, I think, in the last couple of years, where people at the lower end of our economic scale are spending 48% of their free money on food. People at the other end are only spending 10%. So the inequality of spend there, and then how cheap it is to buy very filling but not very nutritious food. So I don't know where we're going to go with that piece of work, but as it comes out, I think we're going to need to do a lot more to raise what malnutrition looks like across the whole spectrum introduce there might be some public health messaging that I asked the town council to support us with to make sure that we reach people. And then the only other part that was raised there was speech and language therapy. And that a lot of the service isn't working as it should be. There were more referrals. I know specifically from North Horsham schools that a lot of young people who've gotten the HCP who are not getting the required speech and language therapy. I was probably my most outspoken when it came to that item because it was a poor report and the committee agreed it was a poor report and that will be coming back to the committee. So if you hear of any young people who are struggling to access speech and language therapy, if you could let me know, I'll use that when I go to committee, but it's not just our young people, it's our older people as well. So if somebody, it's not just an age or anything, that was improper. So, you know, we're talking stroke recovery and things like that. If we don't have adequate speech and language therapy, we have members of our community who are not going to be able to communicate, and that's not fair either. So if you can keep your ears out for that, then I'd really appreciate it. Do you want me to do my little district bit? Just a tiny little bit. The House report was heard by the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. It's nice to read something that was done externally because all corners of our community have either had a very negative view or a positive view, so it's nice to have that balance. The committee did come to visit North Horsham. We had a tour around the town. We got to show some of our strong qualities. Some members haven't really been here, so now they've got a good feeling of what's here. I know they were particularly interested to see what the investment here could mean for them. So the committee recommended that we take lessons learned from this project and to try and make sure that when we are able to support another market town, that we've got a real platform to live from rather than this, which was a first run of the development, so to speak. Aside from that, we're winding down to summer, and I will have more to report in September.
Can I just ask?
Yeah, of course.
State Melland, don't know if you're aware, it's been yellow lines. However, so it's been done, except for the gentleman in the house directly opposite the entrance of the car park. There's a guy, there's a house, he's got the really steep curve, and it was parked out the front and then it was grey and white curve, and they've actually, yellow lines around him, and he keeps moving it, so they've come back on one bit, and there's still that one directly opposite the school gates.
Thank you so much.
Didn't know whether or not you know, but yes, they have done it. It's not a brilliant job, but it's good. It's there.
We have waited a long time for that.
It's there.
Thank you.
That's right. Just so that you've got to, it's got to be the most inappropriate spot that they haven't done, because it's where they all come across the road.
Thank you. They haven't told me they've done it, but it was part of a highway safety fund, so that was done. And then it was the corner, and I wouldn't say Nelson Road, I always get that wrong.
Yeah,
it is Nelson Road where we had the wooden bollards put there to stop people parking. Because you get 3 car parks parked on the 3 cars parked on the pavement, and the yellow lines and the TRO was the other part of that bit. So we're all 95% in.
Are they going to put wooden stakes around the grass? You know, you go down into Brickhill past the school, and they all park on that grass bit where you turn left, because they all park on that part now, and then they're all parked on the grass verges. I've got budget left for this year. Is those 2 verges on the left hand side, so the one before you turn into Manor Road, and the one directly opposite, because they are now all parking on the verges.
If we get time over the next month where our diaries collide, do you want to meet up and have a look down there?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good job that they've done, but it's the one spot that's the most dangerous.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. Lucy's covered the sort of little odd things that have happened generally. Of course, one department that carried on right through Purdo was planned. And quite a lot has now happened. First thing is that we've now had the initial response from the inspector regarding the plan. It's interesting in that it's broadly satisfied, but So current site allocations, he has no issues over, but he didn't accept the housing numbers we proposed, which means that we now need to find sites for maybe an additional 1,150 houses over the next 15 years.
Over the whole district.
Over the whole district. Remembering, of course, that there's significant areas of the district which cannot be developed, are either AONB, flood zone, or subject to nutrient neutrality rules. So, we aren't any of those. He also wants further development in some of the larger villages. How that might impact North Horsham, I don't know, though, to my mind, that puts Star Common, Nottingham's Common, possible risk given they are immediately adjacent to the area. So we wait to see where that goes. There will have to be further discussion on policy. There will have to be further consultation in new sites. The 2 or 3 which we rejected 2 years ago, they come back in, and developers will, after Rayner's announcements today, will be eyeing up sites like Wembley Road, I expect. So let's watch the space for that. North Horsham West, as you know, we circulated, the final version of the development brief for that development is now approved by planning policy. It just needs rubber stamping by cabinet at this point. I didn't have any comments from any colleagues here. What we do know is that once that's fully approved, we'd like to get some applications early on from flagship and developer. The initial intention seems to be they will start at both ends, Cromer Road end and the Norwich Road end, working together. We do need to get part of the development underway in order to get funding to build the road right through, which is to be expected. And those are going to give them several £1 million straight off for that. There's some houses there to serve. Hopkins Norwich Road, you may be wondering what's been nothing going on there. Surprise, surprise, they've been arguing about the S106 agreement. Told by legal that they are nearly there with it. But the cynical would say they're waiting for a chance to come back and say they can't put the affordables in. They won't get away with it because not this time. We've had enough of Hopkins place. We'll see where that goes. If it gets signed off, I mean, Ray won't have to get away with it anyway, so that's going to have to go there. Then we come to the ones on the agenda, and I'll speak broadly to it. Some people won't know the history of it. The Paston Foundation came under an application, some 4 years ago now. It went to committee. It was deferred because the company at the time required further information on highways and footpaths arrangements and hedging and boundary treatments. We heard nothing until the beginning of the year when it re-emerges. And this time in association with Flagship. So broadly, the original application has now come back in the form it was before, with the difference being that the development is entirely affordables, not private. And it will be developed by Flagship, not by whoever Paston Foundation want to sign off to. We do know, of course, that the local plan designated that site as open space, but there are other factors that the planning decision takes into consideration. The key ones at the moment being that we don't have a 5-year land supply. We expect to take that up, and we've got to deal with that. It's partly due to nutrient neutrality issues. There's 900 houses sitting, waiting to be hit and favour them. The nutrient neutrality was resolved with funding the roundabout, finally agreed. There's 200 down, all affordables, which can't go ahead with nutrient neutrality. Nothing yet on how that's going to be dealt with. We'll have to wait and see. We have a need for windfall sites, particularly in relation to affordable housing. Taking into account that the presumption in favour of development is about to be strengthened. We haven't seen exactly what the new MPPF will look like. I assume the draft will be published the next day, so kind of very short consultation period over the summer holidays. But I'm interested to hear what local views are on that. I won't be able to present at the committee because I'm chairing it. Lucy is the board member anyway. So you will no doubt be there representing the views. And although I'll be sharing it, I will certainly abstain. Granted, I will have a public interest in the town. I'll have to take that up with Cara on what we can and can't do at that point. Necessary, but I will stand down for the chairing of some of the meeting. And the board will share it. So that's where we are with that. It's not a new application, remember, it is return of a deferred application. Never went away. Okay, well, that's all from me.
One point we didn't raise, the inspector, I think, is not in favour of the HGV link from Cromer Road into the industrial estate, which is something we've always been very keen.
The reason for that is that the consortium, North Morecambe West, does not own land beyond about 60 metres north of the bridge. So the road will get to the bridge and just over to access the land either side of that bridge. But there is no willingness of landowners further up to sell land to enable it, nor is there funding. So how Italians have to look at it is there is no way it can currently go ahead. It is in a development brief, of course, that it will be there eventually, but we can't, there's no way we can enforce it at this stage.
Any other questions for boards? No? We've got police here tonight to speak, so now we get to the public part.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, no, I could stay for a quick question. I wasn't deliberately going just as you.
Fantastic news on Grand Road. I think that's going to make a good difference.
Brilliant,
You mentioned timeline. You didn't answer timeline.
Yeah, so it's.
You just said that they'll be put together. So when is it proposed that that's going to happen?
Yeah, so I did say it's.
Oh, apologies. I
No,
didn't
not at all. So the latest I heard was around sort of February, March next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
For those
Sorry,
roads.
I didn't.
No, that's fine. So yeah, it will be done at the same time. That whole bit, the grammar school road roundabout, and then that junction, and some upgrades to the crossroads as well. So.
Hornbeam Road. Yes, it is Kemp Road that leads on. So live there. It is a nightmare. It was a nightmare when Westover Vets were having their building extended, but their car park has been extended. Yes, more people are using the free car park. Yes, it needs more signage. But the other thing the estate originally asked for was double yellow lines at the beginning of them roads, because it's still a lot of the time that people are parked there is deliveries to the businesses and people going to Westover Vets. If they can't get near the building, they will park in the road and they will go into the vets. And it's also still people using the train station. But that is the original thing that the estate asked for was for double yellows both sides.
I can ask highways again. I would be optimistic, to be honest, that if they turn down Millfield, where there is a very obvious need for those double yellows to come back further. But I can certainly ask our highways engineer. But again, I don't want to raise an expectation when I think I know what the answer would be.
I didn't know if you knew that that was a thought from the estate for double yellows to be at the beginning
when
of
I
the
had a
estate.
walk around there with the highways engineer, that was something we discussed when we were looking at where those signs could go on the lampposts along on the Westover side.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it does come back to accident statistics sometimes, unfortunately. But I can certainly raise it with him again, so at least he knows that what people feel, and that there is an issue there. And,
It
well.
is
Sort of
an
drip,
issue.
drip, drip.
Because it's the main road, that's,
Yeah.
it's not like a side road, it's the main road. isn't it?
But there's quite a lot of time that you're trying to come out of Kemp Road to
Yes.
go left to
Yes.
get out of the estate,
Yeah.
and you can't see. Obviously, this time of year schools are not in, so there's not as many children. But you have people park in the winter. You've got more people parking there because the children are using the bus stop to get to Aylsham School. So parents will park there in the wet weather to drop off children for the bus stop. Deliveries, vets, and they all park there.
Yeah, I've had quite a lot of emails from Kemp Road folks.
Yeah.
So all those things I did raise with Highways when we had that visit, it sounds quite pathetic. So we'll put a few extra signs in, but I will do that. I will raise those again.
Yeah.
Because we've got a good relationship with the Highways officer.
Yeah.
So yeah, and perhaps get him down at the time when it is at its worst.
Yeah, I mean,
It's 8 more during term time.
Yeah, school, yeah.
Yeah, winter, because you've got more parents parking there in the winter than you do in the nice weather. So, and if again, the beginning of the school year for your year sevens, because parents have only just started letting their children go to high school. So I've been there, but they will tend to park. The children will go to the bus stop, but they will wait because they want to make sure their child is on the bus. And I get that from a parent, get that fully, and what parent wouldn't want to make sure. But when you're trying to get out, because they're just there. There's no indicators on, there's no hazard lights, there's no indicators, they're just there. So you come out and you're like, are they waiting to get out? Are they parked? Can I go around them? Can I not go around them?
That's Martin, we need to move on. I think Saul's gone.
Yeah.
No,
all notices. You can take away.
You can now go, Saul.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. Cheers.
Good night.
Cheers, thank you.
So did you want to say anything?
Yeah, so about Mayor's Cadet, what it mainly is I try and involve the younger community more with this council, as we tend to be the future. It's also about helping out you guys with different events, so such as Remembrance and the Christmas Light-On. Not only that, but it's also trying to get my squadron promoted as well, because we are part of the community and we do give in, but we get very little back. So I think trying to promote my squadron as well as trying to promote the younger people would be very good for our community, because there are quite a lot of young people who do live here and attend the schools here as well.
Thank you for bringing yourself up to do this, and we look forward to seeing you through the year.
Yeah, I went to the meeting with Bob, where I met Sophie and Sophie's mum. And I think personally this Mayor Cadet is an absolute excellent idea. It'll bring the community, and not only that, it gives the cadets something to aim for, to be the best cadet, to become the Mayor Cadet. So I think it's a great idea.
By comparison, Kingsland Borough has Army, Navy, and Air Force cadets, and Fire Cadet, and Police Cadet. So
Just
We mentioned the meeting about Army cadets.
Oh yes, yes, if they want to remain,
say it's a
we'll
good
stick with
meeting.
Thanks very much, Sophie.
So one more.
Also, yes,
Bleed kits. Whereabouts are you up to with the bleed kits in support of the lady that is doing the skydive, for it to be having one in North Horsham?
I had a conversation with somebody about it, and they was going to send me an email, but they never sent me the email, so I'm just waiting for them to send me the email. I've got a number, I'll chase her up and then ask her to come to a meeting.
these are kits, I think, sort of stab wound type things, aren't they, for emergency first aid box kind of thing. I think the proposal is to have one on the library initially, I believe. Well, that's my place anyway.
Some of them are being put into defib machine cases, but I don't know if that's quite a good idea, because then they have to then contact East Anglian ambulance, and then they, before they can get hold of them, so I know some separate.
But we're obviously supportive of that, and if we're asked to assist, then we will.
Yeah.
So thank you for bringing that up. I don't think there's any in town yet, is there?
No, I will chase that up.
Right, moves on to the finance part of the meeting. Just to approve the income since the last meeting.
I just highlighted here because it says £6,172.28 to go back to Kent Council. That's not correct.
Okay, good.
Because the invoices were done less net of VAT, but they should be. Those figures otherwise will be out of money. So I've received £30,000 for vergers. 23, 24, 24, 25, because 23, 24 is never claimed.
Yeah, well, thank you for getting that money in, otherwise we'd have been 30,000 down.
Just coming to make council aware, my understanding is that 30,000 was not in the budget.
No.
So we've got a £30,000 addition.
It's not been put in the budget per year, so it'll be put in the budget this year. No, 30,000, because that's 30,000 on top of what you've put to spend.
Can I just ask a question on that then? So, how long would they have not given us, how long would the county have stayed quiet? Chase it.
I don't know, because when I was here, that came through, and I thought, right, and I know, because of where I've come from, doing finances, I know that you have to get grass vergers each year. So I looked back, and I know Julie claimed 22, 23, but 23, 24 wasn't claimed. I don't know whether that was because Julie had left and the other person wasn't knowledgeable or what have you. So I don't know, because they sent through 24, 25, and they sent through the request for that. And then I'm thinking, I'm just going to go have a little look back to make sure we've got 23, 24. But if I hadn't noticed that, they wouldn't have sent it to us.
So my follow-up to that is then, how many of these things may we not know about?
No idea.
Okay. It was just, as long as it's people that owe us money, that's beneficial. Because it's a windfall. But it's only possible.
There is also some money to come back from the electric supply, because we've been paying on estimated bills for the park supply.
Since 2022, we've been paying an estimated bill of £1,000 a month for a meter that we don't use in the park.
So how much is coming back to us then?
About 20,000.
So that's 50,000.
That's 50,000 odd pounds. So I have gone back to Joel Energies and said, what the heck's happening?
So any questions for Wendy on the income apart from those things? Sorry, can't see down over that.
Sorry. So obviously I said that I had an interest in this, and that's because as the North Walsham Friends Group, through a grant we've received, we asked the clerk if she'd be kind enough to do some photocopying for something. And when I had a look to check the amount does not match the amount that we paid. It says 36.52, which the piece of paper I passed to Wendy just as I came in is actually our invoice, which states that it's £6. What is it?
£6.70.
Right, £6.70. So after I noticed that we had this 36.52, I don't know why, I was looking through our payments list and I realised that actually, if you look through our finances, it's not the only instance of 36.52. So I think there may need to be a little bit of checking on what actually did cost what.
Yeah, I will go back and check that, because the actual invoice is £6.70, not £36.52. So whether an allocation of funds has been allocated incorrectly on 3 things, because on there it says, when I go to it, it says Chef Norgate for the carpets. Well, he's only £5 and that says £36.52. It's on the payments list. Let me go down to the payments list. I'm on the wrong place, sorry. So Chef Norgate and the ice cream man who goes there, it says 36.52. Just go back, hang on. Sorry, let me just go back to the beginning. So I think there's a miscalculation of money going, which I'll look into. That's so there's the Chef Norgate, 36.52 for the car bake. Now he only pays £5. And Lamaratus ice cream, 36.52, he only pays £5. So I think it's a miscalculation of money that we've got has been allocated incorrectly.
And the donations to the car boots, the same figures.
So the donations to the car boots was 36.52 last time. That is correct. But I think there's a miscalculation there with costings 36.52 and it's been calculated to Chef Norgate, the Phoenix Building and the Lamaratus. The RFO is not here at the moment, she's on holiday. I will be speaking, or I'll speak to Jess about that and see what actually is going on there.
All spotted. Subject to those checks and corrections.
Yeah.
And we're happy to propose we accept those.
Who's Bottom Paul? Bottom what?
Tracy.
Bottom Tracy, yeah.
And then the other is the expenditure since last month.
Not to say that
Yeah. So, propose that we accept those. Second them, 400. And we're in favour of agreeing that. Okay. Okay. Up-to-date budget figures you want to table for us, I think.
Can I just say something on that?
Yeah, right.
Right. What you've got in front of you, can I just do with income or receipts? The budget that this council approved late last year was for income of £483,000. Having looked at what we've received to the end of July, which is nearly 280,000. You just heard about the windfalls that weren't in the budgets. We will be receiving in September the second tranche of the District Council precept, which is £215,000. And therefore I think one can be confident to say that the income which this council will receive in this financial year will be significantly higher than what was in the budget.
Can I just say the interments and burials have gone down because we're ready meals and there is
I'm not taking,
increase on those.
I'm not even including further income from burials of the market, I'm just saying translation. In terms of expenditure, the budget that you set last year was for £448,000, so there was actually a surplus there. I'm not sure how that arose, but that doesn't matter. There was a surplus. On the levels of expenditure to date, to the end of July, it is likely, as things currently stand, it will be nearest possible within budget. You might be slightly under. What all this means is that, as things currently stand, is that you will end up with a significant budget surplus by the end of March. In terms of the council's bank statements and savings accounts, as at the beginning of July, there was just over £600,000 in those accounts. The Finance Committee, when we come to approve the minutes, has asked for further information about the position of our financial reserves, how we could potentially earmark them. We have asked questions about budgeting. We also want to know forecasts for expenditure to the end of this financial year and forecasts of income. So we do have a better picture of where this council actually stands. I'm also aware, in the Finance Committee, there's an enormous dense of figures that we get to a full council meeting. What I would like to move to is a situation, if we can, where there is a summary that actually sets out to you, I've just talked about budgets, so that you actually can understand the overall position in front of you. Some of this more dense stuff, in my view, should be a matter for the Finance Committee if we've got concerns to delve into. We are having the internal auditor coming in, a new one in September. We will await that report and see what is advised, but the issues which I've just raised with you now, I will want the internal auditor to look at, and the Finance Committee agreed when we met the other week that we would like a wash-up session with the internal auditor at the end of the session. So I'm not going to prejudge what the internal auditor says, but I will be very interested to see what that produces, and I think there's going to be a considerable amount of work required for the latter part of this year when we come to prepare a budget for 25-26, which hopefully will be of a more robust nature. What will also be the case, as I see things, is that this full council will have to ask questions and look into what it wants to spend the money on.
So can I just say, she's coming on the 12th of September, which is a Thursday, and she's only going to be here, she can only do one day, I think. So maybe it would be best if you came into the office like at 9 o'clock, as many of you can, and spoke to her before she started. You only need to spend like an hour with her, won't you, just discuss what you need
Well,
to check.
I'll talk to you later, it might be better if we have a wash-up session.
At the end of the day.
At the end.
But it's only an interim, she'll be again back again in.
But there's quite a lot that we need to sort, but I think we're going to be in a position as a council where come 6 months down the road, you'll have to be considering what you want to do with these sums of money. The other thing I'm anxious to do is to remove something like £160,000 into higher interest accounts at 5%. We've still got all this other money in 1% bank accounts. In my view, that's not acceptable. We do need to keep so much money available. I know it we can get very quick instant access, but if we're not spending this money for a period, some months or a year or two, and the current investment account allows us to have 3 withdrawals a year without losing any interest, we do need to get some of this money shifted into higher interest accounts. And if you're talking, 5% is a lot different from 1%, and it does mean you get extra income, 10, 20, 30,000 pounds a year, which is a considerable sum of money for this council. So I just thought, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for letting me speak, but I just wanted to get some picture that you can understand where we are and what's in front of us. But to use that phrase, there's work to do.
Thanks, it's good to know the funds are there, but obviously the future new cemetery project will be a really expensive one, so I feel
Well,
confident
that is going to be, just again to highlight to the council, once we know we've got outline planning permission, we'll have to get evaluation done in terms of the cost of the land, what it's going to cost to develop it. And then one of the questions that will come to this council will be, how much of our funds do we invest in it, and how much do we go to the public works library for? And that's a question for full council once we actually get there, and that will be your decision. I can have a personal view, but that will be the council's decision.
Can I just say this yellow line on this budget summary, it's gone off the sea, but that is how much our office move was.
How much was it?
The office move was.
Oh, right,
my
okay.
new equipment and stuff.
3.5.
Yeah, so that was the budget.
That's good.
I'm sorry to take some time, but I think it's helpful to. I mean, the Finance Committee are pretty aware of it. And Laura, I can say we will be meeting in the evening.
I did read the minutes, thank you for that.
Any other questions or any questions for Eric?
Just on the budget figures, there isn't anything in there for the uplighting of the market cost, there's no budget.
That was a reserve, wasn't it? That was on the earmarked reserves.
If you have a look at the papers, it says it's there, but there's no budget against it. And obviously we agreed, not the last one, the one before.
Yeah.
We agreed to go over the budget, didn't we?
There is a sum of money there, I don't think it's the reserve is what it's likely to cost, correct? How those reserves are currently categorised and what they say is, can I use the word loose? And that's something that's got to be tightened up. But in terms of the lighting, as far as I'm concerned, this council has agreed it, there is adequate funding for it, and
You've done tomorrow, hasn't it?
well, we've got a £30,000 windfall on versus the highways, we can use it for that.
Right. Thanks, Eric. We'll move on to the costs of the street feasts and car routes that were requested last time. Screen.
I'm sorry. Give me my screen. Okay. So that's the car boot. That isn't actually correct because even though the income, that has got the donations from Mayor's Charity in there. So actually the cost of the car boot is £19.50 expenditure, which I think goes from the charity buckets, I think. And the income is less. The income is just for what the vendors come in. So 5, 10, there was 3 vendors the first one, 2 the second one, I think there was 3 the first one, so that's £5 each. So we've actually taken more money than what we spent on the car boots, that's the only cost. The wages haven't been calculated out yet, that's something that I've asked Sherry to do for wages, for the staff to do the car boots. It's not there yet.
Can that be included in the next meeting now?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. The street feasts is £897. There's a full calculation for tables and chairs for the whole of the season, but I think to include all committee spend for 20 table chairs and road closures, but there is an agenda item to discuss the tables and chairs. And then the income is £900.
Sorry, I could be wrong there, tell me about. If you're taking the time off in lieu though, you don't need to take wages out of it, do you? Or do you?
Well, I take time off in lieu.
So your wages then come out of the car boot, because you.
Well, there is still a cost, isn't there, because I still have a day off, there is a day off, and I have a day off.
But it's a cost that would have already come out of the budget anyway, because.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, it wasn't here when this was asked, but are we doing this for all the things that we do? So obviously, we've got the markets that we have and the Sunday market, and we do costings for all things. Because with the car boots and things, the grounds team will make sure the grass is cut, so that would have always happened anyway, so that will need to.
I was just asked to do street feasts and car boots.
And are we comparing it to previous years? Sorry, I wasn't here.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't. We shouldn't. Specifically, the question was to look at the cost for this year, but to be useful, it needs to compare year on year as well.
Okay, so are we doing this for things, obviously, like the Memorial Park and the playground equipment, factoring staff's time into everything that we, is it a cost?
Well, I know that I have asked Sherry to cost the wages out across all cost centres. That's a project that I've asked Sherry to do, because at the moment that just comes in. And the precept, when that comes in, that's not costed across, that just comes in as a lump sum, it's not gone out across all the cost centres, and I've asked Sherry that that needs to be done, and the wages needs to be done. So that's something that she's going to do. Hopefully that'll be done this year, but that is something that we're going to cost out.
Yeah.
That's how I used to do my wages and my precept.
I guess the only reason I'm asking is because there's not much context and standalone data, it doesn't make as much sense, because obviously
No.
the street fees we have paid for waste, so are we going to calculate what
We
we pay for
will
waste?
therefore, this is just genuine what I've spent.
Okay, so are we doing it for everything that we do across the
The
council?
market, the waste bins are costed into the market, so we've got that kind of detail for the markets anyway. We haven't historically separated out these costs.
Is it just for event type things? That's what we're doing it for. So if somebody has an event on the park and we need to do something in preparation, like cut the grass or be there for opening or closing or whatever, are we doing the costing for that as well? Or is it just for the
I was just asking.
I think it was for yeah, it's just the profit and loss.
We want to know where the funds are going, so it should really be done.
We started off with street fees now.
You know, you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I think it needs a bit more detail and it's incomplete and so on. Stephen?
You could only put that down as an outgoing cost if there had been a specific request to cut the grass prior to an event. You can't put the cost in for an everyday event, which happens because the grounds people decide, right, Memorial Park's getting cut on Tuesday, regardless of what's happening on Saturday. You can't then put the cost onto Bob Wright and Steve Dibben because they're having a party on a Sunday afternoon, because the grass is going to get cut anyway.
Sorry, that wasn't what I was specifically saying. There have been times where
If it's
grass-
specifically done for an event, then it's chargeable.
So
if it's a routine cutting, there's no charge made payable to the people.
yes, we're talking about an early cut, rather than if it was going to be cut in a week's time, it's been cut early for an event.
That's
what
what
I
I
was
meant by a
asking.
specific cut.
Yeah.
So the
If it's-
grounds team are going to cut for their festival, because they'll keep it longer for the car boot, but they are going to go in and cut for their festival.
Well, in that case, there should be a charge made to against round table.
But would there be if it was due a cut, but then missed a cut to let it grow longer,
Well,
so they get it cut and then we
this
wait?
is the game of chess you're
That's-
playing now.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's how
I think there has to be a bit of
Piccadilly.
competition.
Yeah.
Chair, sorry, can I
Sorry,
ask,
Stephen.
what exactly are we trying to achieve here? Because
I
if
think-
we're trying to assess whether or not an event makes money or not, then we need all the one-off specific costs against that and all specific income. Are we then going down the road of if they don't make money, we decide we're going to do? I mean, I don't know what the rationale is for.
Events shouldn't cost money, should they? They're a community event that you've got on for the community, and that's part of having a precept and spending it back again on the people, so it's not a money-making event. It should never make money. In
I
fact, it should
wasn't
be a
suggesting
cost.
they should make money, I was asking why are we putting you to the effort of doing all this extra work when we seem to be in agreement that we do these things for the community anyway. So what is it we're trying
Well,
to
this was a
achieve?
specific request by members at the last meeting, which is why it was done.
I think to answer Paul's
I
question.
wasn't there, so that's
no,
why
that's
that's why I'm
fine.
asking.
For the last 2 years, when we've put on cobbles and street fees, obviously there's been initial costing.
Yeah.
Okay, but by the end of, I think it's at the end of the last season, we were in credit. Okay, and that's when he's quite rightly said, it's at no cost, and that was the idea of the events. Okay, I think the idea was to see what it is now costing since the markets committee are no longer running it as volunteers as well. So how much it's costing the council from one to the other.
Get tested.
But we still do need volunteers. That was never my intention to not have volunteers.
That's fine, just
That was all I think was the general consensus of what it was about.
It's under the general
Yeah.
heading for me of
Yeah.
workload and
Yeah.
it's fine having things done as long as we're looking to gain something out of the result.
Yeah, I think we better push along then, because we've got
Sorry, Chair.
quite a lot of sound question. The detailed summary of accounts, that's this one then?
Yeah, that's
Yes, that's just to receive that.
I just thought you never get any accounts, so I just thought it was quite good for you to receive some accounts. I think it's been fairly, but they will be more detailed, and as I said, I think there's their access to describe.
A summarised version as Eric's described will also be useful. So that's the next item is on giving us all, we we gain the access into the accounts.
Yeah, so,
Where are we with that?
I mean, I'm still getting, gradually doing that for each and every one, but, and then I have to give you access and I have to give you training on how to do it. So I don't know whether you wanted to all come together or whether you want a few of them coming and into the office at a time to do that. I mean, it's quite easy. You can do it, you can download it, you can download it on the cloud and you just log in, so you just go into Scribe and log in.
If it best for people to come in
So
individual
I
groups,
can
because it's
do, I
a
can arrange
one-to-one
like
thing.
a half and half afternoon event. So as soon as I've got you all access, then I'll do that. Did you want to do that in August in recess? I'm on holiday for 2 and a bit weeks, but we can do that in September if you want.
Item 8.7 is considering having gov.uk emails. This is partly to avoid the problem with emails getting stuck in spam filters, I believe.
There's a recommendation by SLCC, JPAG and now for councils to have .gov.uk emails, so I would have town clerk nwtc.gov.uk, it's more professional. The org ones is for charities, a lot of charities use the org ones. I have spoken to our IT company and they can set it all up.
Is there a cost?
You didn't tell me there was a cost because we pay a monthly cost to
No,
it
not that,
anyway.
but for having the address.
I don't know. The SLCC are doing them, they're £180 and they're giving you £100 credit at the moment. The SLCC, so they're £80, but I haven't done any further, I just wanted to know if you would be up for that, and then I could go and find more information about it.
Fee tried twice to get me on one of these last year, and it was
The .gov.uk a lot easier.
either my computer or the system you got. We just did it on.
This is different to that.
I had the same issue. They kept trying me. I've now got an NWT whatever it is, and it works brilliantly. And it's good because then you know that's like all your council emails are. You're not hunting through all your other emails.
I agree with all of
like
that,
it.
and they couldn't get it to work.
Yeah. No, I had problems on the old one. This new NWTC one does work. It's brilliant.
So it's
I
just
think it's a
going
great
from,
idea.
it's just going from .org to .gov, and then you would get all your information. It's all kept separate. Isn't it? So do I need to propose in a second then, or?
It'll be the same for the website as well, then.
Yeah, and but all our staff will have .gov on, which is a lot more professional, a lot more.
I'll propose it.
Item 9 was on the yellow lines on Milford Road, which you saw was already explained that NTC are not very keen on doing that. So I suggest that you write back to the person who raised it, explaining those points. Did you have anything specific you wanted to raise about that?
Not necessarily.
Reasons?
I would wonder whether or not it's because they don't have budget to do those, and if it was to be funded, would it be possible? That would be my question. Is it a no because no, or is it a no because it's not part of their current budgeting spend? That would be my level of curiosity. But I'm not saying anything else.
Well, so we could, well, we've replied to the member of the public explaining why nothing's happening at the moment. We could also write to county asking whether if we make a contribution, could it be all forward?
Funny enough, Lucy hit the nail exactly on the head. As they've previously done, if you wish us to consider this, then a contribution from your funds would really help us out if you want 2 yellow lines going down the road. The other thing is that before Saul left, he says, unfortunately, a lot of these things are driven by accident statistics. Twice this week I've driven up to the junction of Norwich Road and twice I've nearly been hit. It's an accident waiting to happen, and unless somebody pulls their trousers up very, very sharply, somebody's going to get injured or worse very soon. And can you put that in the letter to NCC?
But they wait until that happens, that's unfortunate.
You can't wait for somebody to die because somebody can't be bothered.
Just the way they probably work.
So you want,
I would like to reiterate that in this last 7 days, I've personally been involved in 2 near misses approaching Norwich Road on Milford Road. And if they're waiting for an accident to happen, then sooner or later they'll get their wish.
So,
Yeah, I'll propose that. Someone would like to second that? All in favour of that? All in favour?
That being recorded is not mentioned.
Sorry, Lucy.
That's okay.
Have another 10.
Number 10, correspondence.
The only bit of correspondence I've received which has just come in as the Rose Meadow Care Home got some plate and they would like a donation. Just towards a raffle prize. They haven't said anything.
Normally do that.
No, I just didn't know, so I just said I'd bring it along. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Wasn't there also a letter about Benjamin Port?
Yes.
Asking for a letter of support, I think.
Letter of support from Benjamin Court organiser Mr Martin Booth.
I did send it on, yes, so did you, yeah, I saw you came in later, I forgot to bring it, there was, did you want me to?
I propose that we by giving some appropriate support, overstrand letter to the committee.
So I don't have to do a 2-page letter, do I?
So I propose we do that, someone like to second that?
Second by Sue.
All in favour of
You
that?
can make it into a 2-page letter, do you?
No,
Just
no,
do
no,
a
no, no.
one, just saying it.
One page.
Just suppose the line along the lines of we are in solidarity with other parish councils.
Yeah, 10.2, any park decisions?
It was my decision, but it was the RFO because I was off for the day, but she paid £266 for the emergency call out for the street light. That is an agenda item.
Yeah. Okay, item 11, recommendations from Finance Committee and Eric.
Will you have a just where we take the minutes as well? The minute?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So,
I've highlighted them.
right, so we've got them in front of us. The policies in terms of reference, there's nothing to further improve there. There is some changes, isn't there?
Yeah, so I've highlighted it for you, Alex.
Well, I can't read it. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
right.
I'm
Do
not-
you want me to read it out?
Well, if members want it read out, yeah. There is
So
some
we were
changes.
just looking at grants that come in at every meeting. And it was recommended to consider looking at those, so it's up to whether.
When it says to consider looking at them, and say what's beyond that, you're just going to look at the grant. Is there to be no decision, no recommendation? I'm not sure. I feel like there's a little something that's got missed. If you're just going to look at something, right, there could ideally be an action attached. I feel like it's missing. Any clarity from finance? No?
You can spot that.
We consider grants, I mean, we should separate grants.
I'm just curious, there's, so we took them in at set times of the year.
3 times a year we did this.
Yeah, so I think if we're going to take them whenever they come in, I think that's good for our community. But I'm a little bit concerned about how we manage the budget for the grants. So if we spend it all at the early on in the year, because we've got a lot coming through, how are we going to spread that out? So I don't know whether or not that was factored in.
Well, so yeah, they percent applied when you did it 3 times a year. It's good all in the first one. But it needs some kind of reporting of that.
If we've got a proper budget for it, you know what grants are coming in, then one of the things that has always got to be mindful is if we've got a budget of 10,000 and we spend 8,000 by July, then we've only got 2,000.
You could go back and say, well, can you apply later on in the year, I suppose, couldn't you?
Yeah, otherwise we've got to go to full council and ask for any. All grant decisions should be against what the commitment is from the budget.
Sorry to ask again, but can I have some clarity and an answer to the first question? What does that mean? You're going to look at grants. Are you making a decision
Yes.
at finance?
Yes. In the terms of reference.
So as soon as it comes to finance, you're going to look at it, you're going to decide it, and you're going to issue it.
Review and approve.
Or not, as the case may be, depending on what it is. Can we have something in there to reflect that?
Yeah.
Then? Just for a little bit more clarity.
So the second was to review financial regulations, because you can't see that, can you?
Sorry.
Sorry. And it was just, they were all okay except to propose that the delegated authority for the RFO/clerk is up to 1,500. It's currently 1,000, but in conjunction with council chair or vice chair or committee chair and the budget. So.
We also agreed originally and the chair of finance. So it would be a DNA committee might want to spend it, that's fine, but the chair of finance needs to be aware of that as well.
Yeah, but they could be aware afterwards. It's just if it's an emergency come up, like a tree's gone down and I need to make that decision straight away, sometimes I won't have time to make sure that I go round to everybody. So, you know, it's.
But
it's got to be a bit
for
feasible.
committees that require it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, that's
the chair of the
committees,
committee,
yeah.
the clerk, and
Yeah.
the chair of finance.
This is health and safety, I would just go out if
Yeah.
I needed to get something done.
Oh, yeah,
I'd just write the data.
Do that next day.
Yeah. That's fine, John. And the financial risk management. There's nothing to change on that, no changes, so.
There's also some.
That's in the next minute. So if I can have a person in a second to agree those recommendations. Barry and Eric.
Do we have an end with the clarity then? Is that what you're proposing and seconding? Any recommendations that include the clarity that you go beyond looking at them specifically?
Yeah. Because they're recommended, aren't they, from the finance committee, but they've got
I'm
to be.
reading your amendment as you put it there, and what I can read is it says that you're going to look at them. I'm fine for it to happen the way that it's just been described us, but I'd like it to reflect it in that's what it says.
Okay, I'll do that. So do we need to get that changed, bring it back then?
Well, no, it's literally just a slight wording change. Obviously, something's been missed off. That's all that matters. It's just a clarity, nothing more.
Just want greater clarity.
Right, so then the second minutes is the IFO gave a report and agreed that a recommendation was made to full council to accept the figure received from Sanders, whatever they're called, insurance company for bus shelter, and the council to pay for the difference.
I will leave that unanimous of the finance committee.
Second, Chair.
I have done an internal audit where we went wrong, so we will do it again.
That's one of these tables.
There was a shredding contract that went through. I've got bags and bags of shredding material upstairs in my office, and that's because we've moved and there's loads of old personnel documents and all sorts. And I just need to get rid of them. So this is £30 plus VAT per collection.
I'll move that then, unanimous.
Don't worry about that one.
I might ask a query, if that's okay. If it's £30 plus that per collection, how many collections are we anticipating that we need so we've got a decent budgetary grip on how much?
Well, I've got 5 full bags, and it's a little cabinet, so I want to get rid of the 5 full bags, so that might cost a little bit to start with, but then after that will be once every 3 months.
And is it per collection of bag or per time they come out to collect?
It's a little square box at the moment, so it'll be a bag that goes in a little square box, so they'll come and collect that, and that will be £30. But at the moment, I've got like 5 of those bags, so I just need to shop them, and we can't burn them.
We did say that finance, didn't we, that there'd be a bit of catch up first.
Yeah, there will be a bit of catch up, yeah. Look, I've got personal records from people who used to be employed. Well, I've got them, so I just need to get rid of them.
We need to separate how we do it on that.
I can do them on mass actually, could we?
What's the next one?
A sum up card machine at a cost of £79.
I move that.
So at the moment we spend an awful lot of money on chairs and black tables for events. I've already had somebody who's asked to hire some chairs. If they said if we have any chairs, they're able to, could we hire some? They want about 40. So there's a recommendation to purchase 80 chairs. They come on 40 chairs and with their trolleys, so 2 trolleys, and that's cost £2,082. So that always a cost outlay, but that'll, after the time, that will pay for itself.
Where do we store all these tables and chairs?
Okay, so there was a recommendation to get an ISO container. However, I have since been to the park shed, they've tied all the park shed up, there was our old tables and they've moved it, and there's so much room in the park shed. So I believe that's where they could go, if that's okay.
It says chairs, where's the ones back table?
Underneath, back tables are 906. And then the tables that you've got here, they're just the tables that you've got here.
When you say park shed, you mean Memorial Park?
Yeah, that big. Is that
I was thinking
quite
more
a lock on it.
I was
It's
thinking
had a
more
few
the weather's bad.
breaking attempts on it as
Access to
well.
them.
Yeah. Would we use the tables and chairs as much in the winter as what we would in the summer?
Possibly not if you're going to hire them out and you want to borrow them for an event or something.
Good for nicer container. There is a recommendation there for nicer container.
Well, we could agree purchase that defer actually doing it, or we need to. Well,
We have a rather expensive compound building. Is it full?
Jig around,
Well, does anybody look, does the head groundsman look to see if there is sufficient storage in the rather costly compound that they have? That may well save worries about storing it somewhere that it may get stolen from very easily, which I agree, that's potential risk of it in the park. Unfortunately, the CCTV isn't exactly wonderful, and no need for a cost for an ISO container, possibly.
I have been into his compound and taken pictures of everything in there, so I'll take that back to finance. Shall I take it back to finance?
Did you
Storage
recommend that?
item.
We agreed it at finance. See why we should do that.
They do a lot of work in the compound, so I suppose they need.
Yeah, we agreed the ISO container at finance, so I don't see why we're talking about reverting back and not getting it.
I propose we accept for the ISO container and then everything for use for events, chairs, tables, banners, placards, signs, the whole shooting match goes into one container and it doesn't interfere with the day-to-day machinery and everything else.
Where would the ISO container go?
Where it looked in the cemetery,
We-
where the other one came from.
We used to have one in there, because, so the space is there for it. We already measured it, and I helped Wendy investigate this about 4 weeks ago.
One second, Steve's.
Right, can we have a show of hands then? So there's a majority
Thank you
of
very
it.
much.
is that for all the creditors for voting on
Yeah.
that? Good. 7.2 is recommendations from DNA.
Finished.
Oh, sorry.
So as proposed by Councillor Heston, second by Councillor Seward, it was to a donation to Norfolk Community Trust for £2,000. It serves 259 people in North Washington.
Is that community transport?
Transport, yeah.
Yes, that's Norfolk Community Transport, I should say.
Oh, sorry, transport.
Yeah.
That's what I meant, transport.
Just reword it.
Yeah, I will do. So is that
I move that.
Yeah, I'll second that.
okay? That's fine. That's it now, I think.
Recommendations from DNA is policies and policies first. I think there's a huge change.
Just some minor amendments and tidying up, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry.
Updating some addresses and such like.
The only thing in the DNA minutes was the memorial arch.
It's agreed that the wording, proposing that the wording will be War Memorial Park as the wording on the top of the arch. And we previously agreed on Memorial Park. Which that's not against the public, it's called War Memorial.
It was a Queen's coronation though, wasn't it?
Well, it was previously coronation, I think, yeah. So, proposal is that the wording is War Memorial Park. So that's the proposal. Someone like to?
Second.
All agreed on that?
Well, I'm not keen on the idea of the word war.
Well, that's the name of it.
Well, that's the name of it.
It's War Memorial Park. What's that mean?
Yeah, fair point, but
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Can I just ask if there's anything that's going to be done to make War Memorial Park is the name of the park. Everyone knows it's War Memorial Park, but it feels like the arch itself wouldn't really pay tribute to the name of the park now. Whereas before it was just going to be like North Walsham Park or Memorial Park. It feels like where we're highlighting the specific reason that we have the park, it feels that the arch should have some more detail or be softened a little bit to make really a profound impact on the entrance to the park, otherwise it will be lost. That's
I agree, that it is, we all know it's a War Memorial Park, but why change it from Memorial Arch? It was going to be the Jubilee Arch or the Coronation Arch, so why not call it the Memorial Arch?
What's it Memorial?
It's already on the War Memorial Park, so why do we have to emphasise it again?
Because the entrance to that thing.
Well, there's an entrance around the other way, you haven't got a big sign on it. There's an entrance to Hazelwood Road, there's a big sign on it.
I think it's Yarmouth Road, there's a stone plaque saying that, isn't it?
If it gets cleaned up.
Yeah. That's better. Do you mean softening in terms of planting?
oh, just that entrance is has been particularly difficult for some time, because it was hidden at one point. We had some antisocial behaviour down there. The grounds team put a lot of effort into putting some hedges and to put some light in. And I really like the fact that we've upcycled some of the old equipment. I think that's part of our history that many people will remember when it was functional. It just feels like it doesn't really do the name justice if we're just making letters on there now. Whether or not there's anything more decorative that could be done or make it look more welcoming at that entrance, it would be sad for us if it's quite a harsh to have those words on just left.
Well, its original concept, because the tubes are hollow, we ran electrical feed into that area, and we were going to fit lights and cut out into the arch itself, so that at night or whatever, the arch would light up. And they've not done that. I had a close look the other day after they erected it. It's a bit late now because it's set in concrete. It was originally going to be like a hollow with rounded lighting tubes that were built into the actual the arch itself. So as soon as dusk came into play, the arch would light up.
With the conversation in mind then, would it be apt to propose that the next step as to what we do with that entrance to the park goes back to DNA
Yeah. Continue with the lettering, but go back to DNA to.
Beautify that entrance.
So we're going to keep it all on.
Yeah, that's
Well,
completely
that's
acceptable, we just need to do more with that entrance from my, yeah.
But downlight and uplight as in like.
Well, no, they're going to be downlights.
Oh, downlight.
Well, we can still do that, so we can discuss that.
Can I have a second of my proposal?
All in favour of that?
Well, Tracy and Steve, like,
We'll get there.
So, traffic in towards policies, so everybody else.
Yes.
So,
Now, terms of reference, exactly the point of subject. Now, it's the only committee that has got less than 30% to agree. So if somebody proposes it, seconds it, and one the other person votes it, or doesn't vote it, majority on the day, attendees, wins the vote 2-1. I've worked out percentages on the finance committee, for example. You have got a core rate, according to the TORs for this one, at 37.5%. You've got eight councillors, or 8 members on the DNA committee, and you're saying your core rate at 3, which is 37.5%. And for me, that's not acceptable because it could be open to, shall we say, collusion, if there's only 3 people in attendance at the meeting. Whereas at the finances, you've got 5 people and a core rate of 3, which is a 60% majority, so you've got 60% in vote. So I don't think 3 people voting on the importance of the DNA development and amenities is sufficient for every motion to be passed to council.
that's really valid. I don't know if you will remember, I'm pretty sure that we had this conversation over a year ago where we talked about I only sat on 3 committees, but I'm pretty sure all 3 of the committees decided it should be 2/3 of the committee to make sure for exactly the same reason. So I sat on.
You were on personnel,
DNA and M&I. And I'm very sure that on all of those, when we all did the tours, I don't know if you followed me around because I was sick of talking about it, but
on all your committees where you've got 5, you've got a core rate of 3, which is 60%. Except for the DNA committee.
yeah, so my recollection is that we decided to have fairness across the board it had to be over 50%, so it had to be 2/3.
Well, on a DNA committee, it works out with 4 members, it's 50%, if it's 5 members, it's 62.5.
I might, I don't know, because I'm trying to think who I'd sat on more than one committee with.
Well, I was with you on the DNA.
I think the reason there were 3 is because 3 is the legal minimum.
But I think our standard of operation
Yeah,
is way above.
And that's why they were set at 3.
There is a quorum on committees. You don't have to have not like a council meeting where there has to be 2/3. Committees are different. That's best practice is to have 2/3.
Legislation for council is 1/3, but it must be a minimum of 3. So that's why we put 3 on those terms of reference. That's in the 1972 local government.
But we could make it more if we chose.
We could, yeah, but the local government act says it's 1/3.
Just there to move things along, safe
How many?
Is that just for the DA committee, yeah?
I'll second that.
Sorry, just because I'm just like to get everything equitable. Is that the same on all committees? I haven't looked at the.
No, the personnel is 6 and 3.
Which is 50%.
So to reflect, it should be 4.
Yeah, well, we'll have to go back another time, won't we?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to go back.
Yeah, that is personnel.
So if we're going to go for equitable and it's 60%,
The problem you've got,
if we're going to go for equitable and it should be 60%, that should go for everything that we're doing. There shouldn't really be anything that's excluded from that. That's what we're saying is best practice.
Yeah, and they can be agreed tonight because you are agreeing.
Yeah. The problem you've got, as I raised it at personnel, is that the bigger the quorum, the less chance you've got of holding the meeting, then you get apologies.
By having a high number, they do get a bigger representation as a council in each meeting, which is what we also said in personnel. It might be the legal recommendation, but I think as a whole council, we're trying to do better each time. And yes, that's the legal minimum, but if we can work to a higher standard of that, surely that benefits everybody on the motion.
I think it needs to be level work if we had full committees. I think a number of committees are the capacity of them. Net varying problems.
There's a couple of short on DNA, aren't we? Full on finance and full on personnel. There are a couple of spaces on DNA.
Have we got 5 at least on this?
Yeah.
Okay, then it would be for it anyway. Sorry.
Okay, so we're going for 5 here. Everyone's given the closing seconds, we're happy with that. Okay.
That's just for DNA, yeah?
Yeah.
Just to speed things up, can we not do it for all of them at the same time? If they will not.
No, we're looking at the other 12s anyway, aren't we? So,
I just think it takes time.
yeah. So next one is personnel committee policies, because we can move that to later on.
Yeah.
So item 12, to discuss the markets and MI committees and make a decision on how we move forward on those 2 areas. It's a draft tour on the document for a tourism and events committee, which would basically cover the same issue.
Not to put a damper or anything, but you've actually said you've got a tourism and whatever else it is you called it, events committee, which was approved at a council meeting tonight. And hasn't even been gone through the council for voting.
The draft minutes, draft ones to discuss.
So, no, it says it was approved tonight, that's the date we put on.
That's the draft one, because it is approved, it's there.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's technicality, but it's
It says draft, it says draft for discussion.
It's the incorrect document, and you've actually created a council, a committee, which, to my recollection, hasn't been approved.
It is here for us to discuss tonight. We're here to discuss what we do with M&I and markets. We've previously suggested that they would be abolished and replaced by that one, which...
Well, you can't do that until you've discussed markets and M&I and properly. You get rid of one first before you can create another one.
Yes, that's what we're now doing. So the first part of this agenda item is to abolish those 2 committees. So we do that first, and that leaves it clear to discuss what we do going forward.
I know I'm being a pain, but the first thing that I asked was about the discussion last time. And if Wendy's going to go back and re-listen to make sure that we're right, are we overturning a decision or are we clarifying? Because it appears in the minutes of the previous meeting that we said we'd disband everything and we set up an events working group, but then a committee was agreed. But if that's not...
We can't discuss this.
We can,
because we're talking to get back.
The committee wasn't agreed.
But the
Neither
minutes...
was a working group.
The new committee was not agreed.
No, well, so what I'm trying to say is the minutes have already said it's been disbanded and something else has been set up. But nobody had the same recollection, which is why Wendy was going to go away and have a look at it. So it just... It doesn't... I can't make a decision on this, I'm really sorry, because I don't understand what happened last time, and I don't think it's fair for me to be able to make a decision on it.
We'll defer that to next time.
The reason you've got item 12 and item 14 on this agenda is because it was not mentioned for the disbandment of those 2 committees at the last committee, at the last full council meeting. Because it was me that asked for them to be put onto the agenda through the town clerk.
Can we just move on from this item until we have the clarity list?
Yeah, well, we would have said, well, defer it till next time. The next item is a report on Thursday market, which was to do with
Yeah, I've done the report because our markets application form says 3:30 and our other one says 2 o'clock, so I just needed some clarity of what we're meant to be. The casual pitch says 2 o'clock and the other one says 3 o'clock. Cars are leaving +1, 2 o'clock time. There's traffic moving in about when the road is closed, so I went and had a chat with all of them about when they leave. I did say you shouldn't be leaving until 3 o'clock because 3:30 that's what you've signed for. But they said, well, come 1 o'clock, everybody goes. So I don't know whether it's just a morning market because it's really busy in the morning and it does peter off in the afternoon. But then people like Double Q takes ages to pack up, ages to set up, so he leaves a little bit, but he then brings his vehicle in at 1:30. So I've got vehicle movements, which is a risk. I've got people walking about, which is another risk. And I just need some clarity of what we're going to do.
Can I just say, the reality is it's a morning market. And that's the reality, and morning markets tend to finish about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, we do finish at 1 o'clock. By 1 o'clock, it is quite big.
Are we saying, are we looking to agree a trading time or clear and wait time? Because obviously if you close at 1, then you would have to start packing up at 11 or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I trade into one finish at 1 o'clock.
I think.
I think it's different training as well because when people, I mean, like you say, queues, they're really early setting up and it takes him a while to pack down, but he's still getting customers when he's clearing up.
Yeah.
So
that's
if you suddenly say, right, we're shutting it at 1, he's going to lose trade.
Yeah, Buttercream always sells up at 1,
Yeah.
and then disappears by 2. So
Redfields have to leave only because they have children to go and collect.
I think the important thing here is traffic movements and the health and safety perspective of this.
Yeah.
So I think really it's about at what time are we going to allow vehicles access for people to start breaking down and making sure that everybody that is in that market understands that will be happening. If they then choose to continue trading while others are breaking down around them, that's their choice, but vehicles will be allowed on from 1:30, 2 o'clock, whatever it might be. I think that for me is the important bit.
I'd have thought, I'd suggest that the compulsory trading hours are to 2 o'clock, which suits everybody, doesn't it? But the road stays closed until the last one goes, 4 or whatever it might be.
But then I've still got vehicles coming in because they want to leave at 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
which is another health and safety risk.
This one's talking about gate management.
That's another thing. But really, at the moment, it's really just getting alignment between the two application forms, because permanent traders are 3:30 and casual traders are 2, so I just need that commonality.
At some point, the market must have been still quite busy for us to have recommended a later finishing. It would be interesting to know why we've lost the afternoon trade, or why people aren't coming to the afternoon, because if there was plenty of people about in the afternoon, traders wouldn't want to leave early. And I don't feel like we should be creating a market that's dictated by our traders. It should be a market that our community wants. So have we done any consultation with residents in the town about why they don't use the market or when their preferences are? Because I don't think we've done any consultation as a council since I've been coming to the council when I was elected at the county. So that might be a nice piece of consultation to show that we've got all the information before we make a decision.
But then I think if you say till 3 o'clock, then people have to stay till 3. They can't just leave.
Is it going to be a couple of traders and that's something?
So
So if they've got school children like that,
Yeah,
they need to be
it's
on
just
like
like
a miss the whole day just because they're dictating.
They've got children to talk about.
Do we don't, there's not an urgent need to make this decision,
No.
this is just tidying something up, so we can perhaps put it to the new committee when it actually happens. So I'd suggest we defer it for now.
I was going to suggest, Mr Mayor, that given the amount of time it's taken us to get this far through the agenda, we should probably be a little bit expedient about getting through the rest. Otherwise we'll run out of time.
Suspend standing order 3X. The 2 ounces up. It's not quite their business.
So what are we doing today?
Suspending standing order 3X.
Is that clear from the second for that?
So we can continue.
I'll be honest with this chair.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to say how long you can extend it to?
No,
No.
just suspend.
Right, I'll put that.
So we can quickly move through then. So the next item is to agree to celebrate the day, which I'm sure we will obviously will fall under the new committee. So we just agreed that we will be doing something for the
Well, there's a, what we have to do is follow what's already done, so like we did for D-Day.
Someone like to second that? All in favour of that? Yeah. The item 16 is a letter from Norfolk County Council declaring the verges on Field Lane a World Nature Reserve, which is just for information, I'm not sure why, because it's not particularly exciting verge, but there must be a rare species in there somewhere. Item 17 is to do with accepting the licences for us to maintain Church Slope and Cedar House, and also the piece by the park of the Custom. So this is 3 items.
No, I think North Walsham and Bloom are doing the first part. Boys are connecting the vicarage. Car park.
We're doing the.
We're just doing the church, so we can see that.
North Walsham and Bloom, there is identical drafted licences for the town council and for North Walsham and Bloom, which basically just set out the terms under which you look, Lambert's district is set out in terms on what you're responsible for, what the district is, and if you've got to terminate how it's done in notice. We're looking after 4 sites, 5 sites. And the district is looking after 2, which is Church Slope and this gravel bed in front of it.
So do we need to do a decision on that, or is it just receiving it?
I need to abstain from what I need to.
Yeah.
We need to accept them.
Well, I propose that we accept them because it's important to maintain. Tracy second.
All in favour? Yeah.
Can't go forward, so it's all done.
Yeah. Item 18 is just an update on the drop curve into the park at Hazelwood Road End. Is there anything?
Yeah, that finishes on the 1st of August. There's been no public consultation.
So we're still waiting.
But I just need to know, because I have to instruct county council to do it, and are we paying for it? About £2,000 on it.
That's what they estimated.
Yeah.
Was that one that you were going to contribute some county budget?
I will ask if I can do that. I think I can do that, but I don't want to take part in this item because it's an interest in my county budget.
So do we need to agree that we authorise you to spend £2,000, or if that's the figure, when the permission is granted? Because otherwise we won't be meeting again until September.
If I was you, my proposal would be that you write to the county councillor to ask if you could spend some of their highways. That's what I was going to say. And if you can't, then action the finance. That would be what I would do.
I propose what Lucy said.
But can I abstain and leave it?
Yes. Vote by Stephen. Who's Julie for the secretary? And all in favour. So, all right, and then if they say no, then I'm okay to go ahead and get that done, yes? Is that what you're saying?
Can I just say, we were given a rough estimate 12
Yes,
months ago of about £2,000.
About 2.5.
Please confirm, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got something in black and white. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Item 19 is a letter from the telecoms about upgrading the mast down Marshgate. I don't think there's anything for us to say about that, but apart from it's a good thing they're doing it, but there's no decision required from us. If it improves the phone signal, that's a great thing. Item 20, to agree the quote for installing a defibrillator on the pavilion. Got a quote there for the supply and installation, I think.
It's not an installation, it's just supply. Oh, sorry. Anyway, it's just supply for the defib in the place.
So who would fit it?
I'm sure the,
I do know people who fit in.
you've got staff that could fit it, couldn't you?
I've got a staff's husband who fits defibs. I don't know whether I can use that person, can I? You can't send them anyway. No, I can't.
What's, what was the name of the guy who put the electric cable in?
But what?
Put the electrical cable in.
Was it somebody else who fits them?
Could I ask if you could contact the roundtable and see if they'd be happy to fit it, because they've got electricians on their team and they're always happy to donate, and this originally did come from a discussion with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Good idea.
In that case, I just need to make sure that their interests and heart of the circle just links around.
Yeah, I think it was the round table,
It was a round table idea initially.
but he's a licensed electrician.
Yeah.
So
Yes, yes, he would.
as long as you've got the paperwork for it, there's no problem.
Yeah, he knows.
It's still going to through.
In fact, I'm meeting them, I might do that.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Can't do this, can't we? £1,500.
So I propose that we agree to purchase that. Someone would like to second, Tracy seconds.
Can I
All in
just-
favour?
Sorry,
Sorry?
can I ask a question? Obviously, I've got another agenda. Is that definitely one of the adults and children, because that's why it was put forward?
Yeah, this is, yes it is, because the heart of the person who does it is the one lady who went.
Is it what lady from Dalston?
Yeah. And there's also, because I do know the chap who goes around and, well, full of Norfolk, check them, and there is a proposal to put one on five conditions.
Yeah, because at the moment the rest of the abortion ones are just adult ones.
Yes.
So we've got proposed second, then all in favour of that? Thank you. Next one is to agree a quote for replacing the streetlight damaged in Coronation Walk, which was Elliot. No brainer, we have to do it. So this is the one we have the emergency costs to go make it safe.
Ginger of it, just like fancy pictures. That is.
How is it damaged and can you get anybody else to replace it?
I don't think we know the damage.
It's only damage that I just, that happened when I was on holiday. You could put it through insurance.
It's definitely been had.
It's what we have insurance for, isn't it? If we do that, we need to go through insurance. We can't just do it and then claim insurance. We need to go through insurance first.
It's okay, I mean, it's all been taped up, so.
Yeah. Do it. Do it.
It's considered an accident, so.
So, can I have a
Barry
proposal?
proposes to do it. I'll second that. All in favour of that one? Thank you. Next steps on the neighbourhood plan. I think that's now.
It's all been approved, so that's what we're doing next.
Are you, Mel?
I don't really want to drag too long, so what Keita's brief isn't that the plan has been approved, it's the designation of the area of the parish of North Walsham to be the neighbourhood plan. So if you'd like to amend that, and then we'll get on with looking at what our next steps are, as we've heard about all of the different planning consultations
Item 23 is to discuss the planning application that Paul spoke about earlier on Station Road. We've considered this twice before and negatively commented because of the dangerous junction at the end of Station Road. So what we can say.
Yeah, basically, our policy on this has always been, unless they widen Station Road, and it doesn't go ahead. Because there's already traffic snarl-ups around that area now. This plan has made no difference.
Well, the only change we've done is slightly widening the bell out where it comes out of the Station Road, which is not the end of it.
But it's still a narrow road.
So,
no change from the last two.
I suppose will be that we repeat our comments, our previous two comments.
The only thing, Chairman, we haven't got highways response yet. And the key to the council's concern is around highways. And you can make that point, but you might want to say that you want to make a further comment once you've seen what highways have to say.
We had to get an extension on it because it should have been in by today, so I have to get
Well,
an
I think we
extension.
put that, but you say highways is our concern. And that
Yes.
we would like to see the highways comments before we make a final view. I have to say, having read the previous correspondence, I'm not optimistic because highways raise it, and then they say, but that wouldn't be a ground for an objection.
There's no way you can improve the infrastructure.
But there you are. But I think let's see what highways have got to say.
To put an objection in, like we did before.
Yeah, we put it in twice. There's no change.
But with the rider, we
But we would like to see highways comments
Before making further comment.
before making further comment.
So proposed by Bob, who's second?
That's what we want to do.
all in favour of that?
Can you please note my extension, Wendy? And I think that
Yes, I'm sitting here boiling, but I can't say anything.
Same here.
It's boiling from a heat perspective, it's getting quite. It's not totally, but boiling from a frustration point of view, so I can't say anything.
What we're talking about, frustration point of view.
Yeah, no.
Item 24, items for next agenda, obviously this thing's come out of what we've said. I think I'd like to discuss the Memorial Park charity at some future event.
Oh, yeah.
We did, the park is owned by a charity which all councillors are trustees of, but it's never been quite clear how that physically works day to day and who pays for maintaining the park, is it the council or the charity? It's a bit vague. I mean, it's all the same pot of people and money, but we need to regularise that.
Can I give a little update on that?
Yeah, please do.
I've taken all the old councillors off. I got to have the new ones, but I need your addresses and date of births to add people who aren't on, so I might just send an email out. Is that right to send an email out to the people? Yeah.
Usually any
Still the chair.
dog people.
I've taken you off as chair.
I was chair, or I might not even
Do you
have a
mean the
chair.
longest standing?
The longest, yeah, with the new people like Lucy and Laura on there, so I just need your addresses and date.
Moving on, we've got the dates of the next meetings there, which I'm sure you're aware of. So that's the end of the public meeting, so, sorry?
Anything that we've missed off tonight, like 11.3 and things, is that going to be carried forward?
There's some part two.
If there isn't anything that was shared for that would need to be in part two because it's policy at all. So that should
The policies are not on the website, so all
the tours are, we could do the tours
we could do
now.
the tours, yeah.
Just because it doesn't, you shouldn't put it in part two for the sake of putting it in part two.
Anyway, we ask members of the public to leave now.
Just make sure we're reading the tours to the personnel.
Well, it's pretty exciting, because they might take it like to part two. It looks like it's just policy. I
Is there anything else to go on there?
It's not on here, but there is on here.
Right, so, I mean, that can go off. There is on there.
Do you want to do the tour of that then? Well, just because that's a public game.
Okay.
It just didn't seem right that we could.
Thank you. And that is the town council meeting.